A terrifying sense of deja vu, followed by relief yesterday at the Washington Navy Yard. There was a very heavy local and federal police response to reports of a possible shooting at the complex.
Thankfully, no evidence of any shooting was ever found. We're going to take a look, though, at the response now with a security specialist who is also a former law enforcement officer. Chris Grollnek is co-founder of the threat response team, CGPG-MG. He joins us now by Skype from Dallas. Thank you, sir, so much for getting up for us this morning. We appreciate it.
You bet. Good morning to you.
So as you can imagine, here in Washington, there's a lot of talk about the response yesterday. And perhaps the first question everyone is asking is, was it efficient or was it an overreaction?
That's a really good question to start. I think the response was excellent, highly sufficient, extremely coordinated. I think Chief Lanier from D.C. did an incredible job with her emergency response plan, something called NIMS that we follow in the industry, National Emergency Management System. And it looks like it was coordinated very well and everything came together at an exceptional level.
I know one of the questions that you did have, Chris, when you were analyzing the situation, and I know you were in touch with authorities throughout the day yesterday as this progressed, but I know one of the questions that you had dealt with the concept of sheltering in place. A good idea in a situation like this, or is there a better way for folks who might be caught up in an active shooter environment?
You know, sir, that's fantastic. Shelter in place was something that we've kind of become a message that is inherent to us, and it's more of a freeze reaction. And what that's doing is kind of reminding us, hey, freeze is a good thing, when actually it's not. Shelter in place has evolved now. You want to react, escape, and survive. If you're reacting, it means you're moving or you're thinking about moving, you're escaping, you're moving to an exit, you're trying to get out, and you're surviving, you're getting away from the incident as fast as possible. Now at the Navy Yard, they have triple layered retention security, which means there's 3 different barriers at least, and that we can talk about to get in, just to get into the center. So trying to get out may be a little more difficult. However, they do have emergency exits. The only problem with that is it has to be very coordinated and planned in advance with a lot of training to take preparation, because you don't want mass hysteria flowing into the streets as the police are responding, as you saw yesterday. Yesterday was exceptional, though. The average response time is 17 minutes, and yesterday they were on scene between 6 and 7.
I think, though, if we're not going to shelter in place, or there's a better option, when we look at the Navy Yard incident for 2013, which you're familiar with as well, in that case, people were in their offices, and a lot of times they were actually shot in their offices. So in this situation, do you just lock the door? Is there a way to try to get out? What do you think is the best case scenario for people who might be caught in a situation like this?
Well, I'm humbled to be on and being recognized to help. I'll tell you that I have a list of strategic partners that I work with, and all of us meet quarterly. And some things that we've been discussing, one specifically the Navy Yard from 2013 with Aaron Alexis, is that some people were shot in their offices because they did just that shelter in place, but they forgot to lock the door. They forgot to shut the door. And this is not a blame the victim mentality whatsoever. All we are saying is that we have to evolve, because these shooters are evolving. They study each other's work. They want to outdo each other. And there's an evolution going on as we speak right now of what's coming next. And I think in the state of hypervigilance that we're in right now, the strategic partners had a phone call yesterday, not to discuss this call, but to discuss an upcoming emergency management meeting that we're holding. We're a private group at activeshooterexpert.com. That is not a self-plug, because we give away more than we provide for sale. And the strategic partner list, you would be amazed at the people on there. And the ideas and concepts that we have on there for free, you can read about other ideas of how not to freeze and how not to shelter in place while not becoming a distraction to law enforcement as they respond.
Chris Grollnek joining us live this morning, an expert in active shooter training. Thank you so much. I'm sad we're out of time, but one of the things that we did learn yesterday, too, was that they had new plans in place. They practiced those plans at the Navy Yard, and I think that's important for everybody to learn and ask about their own workplace. I mean, we've had active shooter training here, so it's important that everybody needs to know what they would do if that happens.
Some great points from Chris, though, as to, look, it's not the kind of thing where you can have that, training once and then let it go for a few years. You need to continue to update that. As we see, as he mentioned, the shooters are also evolving. Fortunately, yesterday at the Navy Yard, nothing like that.